Okay, so in this video, I'll demonstrate that how we can use virtual environment and what is the necessity of that. Let's say that I have a directory which is named as project. Inside that, I have multiple projects, project A and project B. So virtual environment in Python is such a thing that which can isolate multiple projects. Let's say for project A, I need to use NumPy package, and project B, I need to use Matplotlib package. So if we create virtual environment, then if I install NumPy package here, and if we install Matplotlib package here, so these Matplotlib and NumPy packages cannot be called from the different virtual environments. Let's say in virtual environment A, I've used NumPy package, and virtual environment B, I've used Matplotlib. So once I run my Python from this virtual environment which has been created by A, I can only use NumPy package import, but I cannot import Matplotlib. So what is the necessity of this virtual environment? Let's say that you are making a particular application in Python where a package is required. Let's say package A. Now the package A has some versions. Let's say right now at this moment you are using version number 1.1.0. maybe in future the version gets changed to 1.1.1, right? But your application were made based on 1.1.0. now if you install the latest package at that particular time and just only carry the source code, it might not work for new version because there are some methods or there are some functions which being depreciated in the future releases. So that's why it is better to make a container kind of things that basically uses specific versions to run. Let's say today I'm using NumPy specific version, and after a few days if I update this NumPy package in my machine, that will get updated. At that particular point, maybe some of the function has been depreciated which I used in my earlier source code. So that might not run because I'm using single Python environment, which is my base Python library, which has been installed in the base Python library. So that's why in my machine, I can have a multiple Python copies like that. So what I'll be doing, let me just open it here. Just a minute. The very first thing is that to create a virtual environment, we need a package which is called virtual env that has to be installed on a machine. So I'm using Linux Ubuntu version. So basically what to do, the command is sudo pip3 install virtual env, hit enter. It will be asking for password. So now this particular package is already installed. That's why it is showing the requirement already satisfied. If it is not installed, if your machine is connected to internet, it will automatically install this particular package. What is my next task? I'll be creating a folder which is project. Let's say so mkdir project. That means I'm creating a particular folder or directory named project. So this has been created. Now I'm just going inside of it. So now I'm inside the project and there is nothing. Okay. Now I'll be using two different specific kind of projects which will be using separate set of libraries in Pythons. And that means individual folders are individual virtual environment. So this is one Python version. This is one Python copy. This is another Python copy. You can think of it. So what to do basically, and I want this particular folder not as a normal folder. I want this particular folder as a virtual environment folder in Python. So what to do basically, the command is virtual env. The package we already installed, means it was already installed in my machine. If it is not there in your machine, you install it. After that, you use this virtual env command. After that, the name of the virtual environment folder A. In this case, A is my virtual environment folder, so I'm writing A, then hit enter. It is created. Now let's see, the folder or the directory A is created. Let me just go inside of it. Let's see what else are there inside A directory. That means within this A, bin and lib2 directories are being created, and Python environment configuration file has been created. Okay, this is inside this folder, automatically created by virtual environment command. Now I have to activate this particular Python version here. So I'll be calling this one as a activate this virtual environment. So what to do basically, now at this particular terminal, if I run Python 3, it is showing my base Python version, which is installed in my machine. Now if we just activate, the command is source and then bin activate. That means this bin folder was there automatically created inside this the directory virtual environment capital A, and within that there is a script activate, it is going to run, and now we can see within parenthesis A is showing. That means I'm now inside the virtual environment. So here if we type Python 3, it is showing me the Python 3 which is coming from my virtual environment, which is A. It is not like my base Python. Okay, so now in this way I have created a virtual environment, and now I have activated the virtual environment. So this particular symbol shows the virtual environment is activated. Now you can install specific library. Let's say I'm installing NumPy, because in this virtual environment the necessary package is NumPy. So how to install? pip3 install NumPy. Since after activation I'm installing, means this NumPy package will be installing within this virtual environment folder A, specifically inside lib directory. Okay, now if we clear out, now pip3 list, that means NumPy package installed. Okay, it is showing NumPy package is installed. Fine, no more packages available. So now it is the virtual environment. Now what to do? Basically I can deactivate this virtual environment like that. So I've just deactivated the virtual environment. Now which Python 3, it is my base Python 3. Okay, so now basically I'm going to create another virtual environment. Let's say cd double dot. Now I'm inside the project folder. That means I'm inside the root folder, the project. Now I'm creating another virtual environment. Same thing, virtual env capital B. Now I'm just going to create this separate virtual environment B. I have to activate it. So go to that particular virtual environment folder. Okay, now source bin activate. Okay, now B virtual environment has been activated. Now what to install? Let me show you which Python 3. It is under virtual environment B. It is not the base Python. Okay, so now let me show you pip3 list. It is showing you only this many packages installed. Now what I'm going to use, pip3 install NumPy. Sorry, I'll be using matplotlib. So let me just go and check. Okay, no issue, no problem. So I can just use matplotlib. So it is using matplotlib. Take some time. Yes, it is done. Clear. So now directory list. Okay, so NumPy by mistake I installed it, no problem. And matplotlib is here. Few additional packages are already installed, which are comes with matplotlib itself, right? Deactivate, clear. Now my task is to add these two different virtual environments to VS Code as well as to the Jupyter Notebook. Already Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab is installed in my machine. So let me show that things. Jupyter Lab, I'm just opening. So it's opening Jupyter Lab. So this is the interface. Now I'm just shutting it down. I'm no longer use this right now. Clear, exit. So now I'm inside B, CD. So now I'm inside the project directory. Okay, so what I'm going to show you, just I'm opening the Visual Studio Code. Now I'm just opening the directories. That means text home project. I'm just opening B. All right. Yes. So now my current directory is basically A. That means current directory is basically A. Now I'm in my direct Visual Studio code has been opened, the Explorer, file Explorer within this A. As you can see, there is no Python files. Let me create test.py. NumPy was installed, so I can import NumPy. Okay, I can import NumPy, print. Okay, I'm just going to see which version of NumPy is installed. Now I'm just going to run this particular Python script. Go to this particular arrow symbol and run Python file. Okay, click on that. So as you can see, the interesting, automatically VS Code identifies the virtual environment and activate it, and then it prints the NumPy version. Okay, so this is the beauty of VS Code. Automatically it activates when you just go from the file explorer to the corresponding virtual environment, and if you hit and if you run any one of the Python file, it automatically activate the virtual environment which is present there inside this particular file explorer, and then run it with the corresponding virtual environment. Fine. So now I'm just going to close it. Now I'm going to show you something else. Open folder. Now I'm just going to B, inside the B. Yes, as you can see, there is no more files. Let me create test.py. Here I additionally installed matplotlib, right? NumPy version print version. So let me run this code. I'm running. Okay, now take a look back. Basically, I'm now inside of this different virtual environment. I have opened this file browser, and this particular file is basically inside B folder, right? B virtual environment. If I hit this run button, you can see virtual environment B has been activated, and it is printing NumPy version and matplotlib version. So now from there you can deactivate as well. Come to the terminal section and write deactivate. So it will come out from there, no problem. So let me go to the folder A. Let me show you. Okay, test.file is there. So I'm importing something lib. So this is highlighted by yellow underline, means this particular package is not installed. It is true that we did not install the matplotlib within a virtual environment. That's why. So just let me run this. Automatically it will activate virtual environment A, and it is showing showing an error. No module name matplotlib is found here because I did not install these particular things. So now simple thing, a very simple thing is that you can install from this particular terminal as well. So I'll show you in a different session. Let me just go to the JupyterLab interface first of all. Exit. Okay, I'm closing. This was the demonstration of VS Code. Now I'm just going to show you the JupyterLab concept. So now I have inside project directory. Let me go to a virtual environment first of all. Activate source bin, activate clear. Now I have to install something that is called IPython kernel, pip3 IPy kernel. So where I'm using IPython kernel? Inside the virtual environment A. Inside the virtual environment A. Okay. Okay. It is installed. Clear. Now what next? Next thing is little long. The command is little long, so I'm expanding this window. So what is this? Within this virtual environment A, what I have to write? Python 3 -m, run this. IPython kernel, install, user name equals to, within quotation, let's say A, the virtual environment name. So this particular name may not match to your virtual environment folder name. You can give anything as well. So just hit enter. What is the significance of this line? That means I would like to refer to my IPython notebook or IPython notebook, JupyterLab or Jupyter notebook, that this particular virtual environment I'll be referring by A, by this name. Okay, this may be very long string, the virtual environment name, but this particular name may be very specific one, very short as well, right? So that you can refer it by this name. So this is something like naming concept. So now I'll deactivate. Okay, no issue. Let me show it from here as well. So in this particular from this particular activated virtual environment, now I have to open JupyterLab. JupyterLab. Okay. Let me create this things from here as well. Okay, so as you can see that this particular virtual environment has been added here. Okay, so I'm just creating that things, clicking that things. So now import print so it throws an exception that matplotlib is not installed because we did not install matplotlib inside this now. But actually in my machine, in the base Python library, matplotlib was installed, right? So it is showing that correctly the virtual environment has been activated and been added to the Jupyter, okay, or Jupyter interface. So now what to do? Basically I'm closing this thing, discard, right? Just keep remember, this is my base Python kernel, this is my virtual environment that I have created in under this particular directory, and that was my different virtual environment I created for some another project. shut down, close it, Control C, come back. Right. So now I have to deactivate this virtual environment A. Now to just go to different virtual environment, that is B virtual environment. So far I added this particular kernel to my Jupyter Lab. Now my task is to add this particular kernel to the Jupyter Lab. Okay. So let me activate it first. Source be activate. The same thing I'll do once again. That is, I'll install pip install IPython. So IPython kernel I'm installing under virtual environment B. It is installed. Now it is done. Now next thing, I'm creating a different name to refer it through the Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook. So what is the command? Python v -m IPython install user name small b, right? So it has been created. So I'm just opening Jupyter Lab. Okay, so virtual environment B has been created. So now MP so it is running because the virtual environment B by mistake I installed NumPy as well as Matplotlib. That's why these two are basically imported and showing the versions, right? So that is basically how to create this virtual environment to the IPython interface, that is the Jupyter Lab. Now the task is, now let me deactivate first. Deactivate first. Okay. CD, go to home, right? Okay, this is my terminal. Now the thing is that I would like to uninstall the virtual environments, virtual environment kernels, which I basically added to the Jupyter Lab, right? Because from this particular from that particular interface, that there was no deletion options also there, right? So what to do basically for that case, first identify what are the virtual environment kernels, what are the different kernels available or attached to the Jupyter Lab. So what to do? Jupyter then kernel spec list, Jupyter space kernel spec space list. So this will be showing you the detail of the virtual environments and the corresponding path. Suppose I would like to delete this and this. Okay, so let's first delete A. So what to do? Jupyter kernel spec uninstall the name of the kernel. Okay, now it is asking for, would you like to remove this kernel? Yes, press Y and hit enter. Now let me just open this Jupyter Lab. Let me show you whether the A kernel has been removed or not. Yes, A has been removed, right? So let me shut down. So now I'll be using the same command instead of A. Now I will hit B, right? So yes, let me run this particular Jupyter Lab. So we will see there is no B kernel. Yes, B has been removed from it. If you want to add, do the steps once again. If you want to add it once again, okay, so one more thing, I'm just adding once again. One step is not required, installation of the IPython kernel, because that is already been installed within the folder. So, and the naming that has already been installed. So what to do basically, project, then cda, right, create a, now source, activate. Okay, now what to do basically, python 3 minus m IPython kernel. I'm again installing this kernel to Jupyter Lab. That's why IPy kernel space install, user name equals to a. Okay, now let me just open this Jupyter Lab once again to show you whether a has been added or not. So the virtual environment a has been added once again. Okay. Now I'm just removing once again from here, from this here I can remove it. Jupyter spec, Jupyter kernel spec, uninstall it. It has been installed. Right now I'm just deactivating exiting from here. So now in Jupyter Lab there is no a kernel, there is no a kernel, right? So it is done. So in this way you can create virtual environment, and what is the necessity of the virtual environment that I already told you, how to add these virtual environment kernels to the Jupyter Labs, and how to activate automatically this virtual environment through VS Codes. Both the things we have. Thank you.